Well, yeah, it took us a couple of weeks to actually complete our hiring process. Um, we've had quite a few applicants, like well over 100 applicants, I think, per position. We had advertised for two positions, one for a line cook slash chef, and then one for wait staff slash bussers. And I mean, we got resumes literally everywhere from professionally written to people that didn't even have a basic grasp of the English language. And I mean, that's from an employment standpoint, that's the first thing that you would look at to kind of weed people out. You know, is the resume professional? Does it look like they take pride in what they do? Does it look like they take pride in themselves? And then from there, what sort of experience do they have and whatever. But right off the bat, the number one way to weed them out is who looks like they actually take pride in what they do. Considerable amounts based off character, actually. In this sort of a business, the cook slash chef is a little more difficult to base it strictly on character. You have to base a little bit more on their specific skill set. But for the front of house staff, that can be trained fairly quickly, as long as you're willing to kind of pay attention. So the majority of the front of house staff is hired based on character. Even things like punctuality. We had one girl that applied and rescheduled her interview 3 times, and we finally just told her to beat it. Stuff like that. Literally though. So you have to base a considerable amount of your hiring process for those sorts of jobs on character, because they're the people that are going to be dealing with your customers directly. So they have to have a good sort of fiber to them. Was to be hired as a chartered accountant at a university, and the recruiting process again there was 95% based on character, because at a university, essentially, if you graduate from the accounting program at a university, basically everybody has the same skill set within a few sort of points of each other. Everybody has the same basic skills. So what kind of made me in demand was that I wasn't just like some number crunching nerd. Like, I had some personality and some character and was able to present myself well and talk to people. So I mean, that was a huge thing in that instance. It's a huge thing in any instance for somebody that wants to be hired. The way they present themselves, the way they interact with people, and the amount of confidence that they exude really helps them out considerably. Number one, a professionally written resume, because
and the layout of it. And
yeah, and the layout of it.
We'll just
Emphasizing,
throw it out.
yeah, emphasizing your good points right up front. Nobody cares that you worked as a shoe polisher in 1997 at Union Station. That's irrelevant. Your basically your last 3 to 5 years employment history, and your relevant skills specific to the job that you're applying for. It has to be very specific to the job you're applying for. As I said yesterday, if you get a resume that outlines a host of skills that's applicable to the manufacturing sector, it's probably going to go in the garbage here, because you wouldn't even have been able to take enough time to be bothered rewriting, focusing your resume. Two, believe it or not, is you need to monitor your behavior on social media, because, for instance, we were able to weed out probably 15 to 20 people just on their front page of their Facebook or Twitter account. And I mean, I know there is some controversy surrounding that, but to be quite honest with you, we had one applicant that when we pulled up his Facebook page, it announced pretty proudly that he was a member of the National Anarchist Movement. So right off the bat, out the door. We had another one where the girl was giving the finger in her picture, out the door. We had another one that her name was so-and-so shit disturber something or other, out the door. We had another one where all 5 of her profile pictures, she was absolutely hammered, out the door. You know, we had another one where the guy was like posing with like, you know, a Hustler magazine in his hand, out the door, these sorts of things. So, you know, with the availability of social media and the access, you know, it might be all well and good and funny, but if you're trying to get a job and actually, you know, present yourself as a professional, not going to fly. And I know, like, if we're doing that in this kind of a business, I know for a fact that any of the bigger companies do it intensively, and they have contracts with like Facebook and stuff to be able to see behind the scenes what you're posting, even if it's not public information. So, you know, applying to a restaurant's one thing. If you're applying to PricewaterhouseCoopers, they're going to be looking into you very, very closely, like they did with me. So, number three, your presentation, your interview. Show up on time, don't reschedule, and, you know, look professional. Even if the job requires you to clean urinals, show up in, you know, business casual to dress sort of attire, something presentable, and, you know, look the part. Look like somebody's motivated to get a job.